There's a real sort of sense of um, belonging and sort of family, and it's very warm and friendly, and all the teachers take a really good effort despite pandemics to get to know the kids and know all of their names. And we felt that, well, we still feel, if we have a question or whatever, we're welcome to come on in and ask our questions. And we always feel very welcome there. And everybody's sort of there to make sure that their kids are getting what they need, and so there's sort of a real sort of compassionate feeling.
I'm Glenn Herbert, and I'm an editor with Our Kids. We're speaking with insiders from Canada's leading private schools to gain insights into their programs, culture, traditions, and leadership. This includes insights from parents, alumni, and administrators. This is the Our Kids Insider Perspective.
Our son is a very energetic, well, at the time, 6-year-old who, you know, is very, very smart, loves the outdoors, and just needed a little bit more attention from the teachers with regards to his learning style. And at the time where he was attending, he would comment that it was very big and very loud, and he really couldn't focus. And so we thought, okay, we're going to need to find a solution for him whereby he feels that he can learn and he can build his confidence, his emotional confidence, his academic confidence. And so we had heard about GlenOak Academy, so we thought we would set up a meeting with the principal, Susan Good. And we did that, and really, really liked her right away. She was very warm and welcoming and nurturing, and sort of said, we can work with your child on his learning style and sort of follow the Canadian, sort of the Ontario curriculum. But having said that, work with how he needs to learn. So then we decided, okay, this is a great idea. Why don't we see if James wants to spend a couple of days with them? So he spent probably a total of about 4 days with them, maybe a couple of mornings and a couple of full days. And he really sort of gelled with the environment and the smaller class sizes. And right away, he started, you know, being very chatty and talking to everybody. So I thought, oh, this is interesting. So we just felt comfortable there. And we felt that it would be a great environment for him to be in, to learn and, give it a try. Well, absolutely. And so because he got to spend a couple of mornings and a couple of full days there in the spring before the September that he started, he already had a connection with some of the teachers and some of the students who did return in September. They'd been there for a year or two. And so right away, I noticed a shift because he was excited in the car. He was very chatty in the car, and was happy to go and didn't have any sort of hesitation getting out of the car. And he recognized people right away. And what I noticed as well was him getting back in the car at the end of the day, being very chatty about his day and wanted to share, oh, we learned this and we did that. And my husband and I looked at each other like, wow. And then sort of as time went on, we could see like his spirit and his confidence boosting, because we think he felt that he was heard, and he felt a little bit more confident. So he would share, and the teacher would tell us, he's sharing his, he wants to put up his hand and share whatever we're learning about, if it's a story or a math question or what have you. Whereas before, he would have been very shy and sort of looked at the ground and didn't really want to talk in class. So we noticed that right away, absolutely. And just being a boost of confidence. And yeah, he was excited to go to school. So that was a big, a big star for us. Well, I know he loves to be outside. So the fact that they get lots of outdoor time, they get their learning cycle, and then they go outside, or they have a nutritional break outside. So he loves to be outside. So he knows that he's going to have gym once a day and he's going to be outside at least twice a day, um, that really helps him. And he's a very tactile child. He likes to get down and dig in the dirt, or they have a little school garden. Um, so I would say just being outdoors and lots of play, but in like a good way. The learning cycle, then they go out and play and take a break, then they go back in to learn. So I would have to say that. And they do a lot of environmental learning as well. And, they have lots of little field trips. They'll go to the local park and have a good run around, or they'll go to the local library. And there's quite a few historical homes in the area. And so they'll have a nice sort of outing into the trails and have a look around the house and learn about the heritage and that sort of thing. So that sort of hands-on learning, I think, is really important for him as well. I just appreciate his enthusiasm now. It's not a struggle to get him. I mean, obviously, the pandemic has sort of thrown everybody for a loop. But despite that, they've been really good with giving them the tools that they need, to be in the class, to move quickly to online, to move back into in class. And so he's just enthusiastic. Whether it's online learning one day or in school learning, he's not hesitant. And I don't have to remind him to get onto class. It's time to get onto class or what have you. He's just willing and confident, and wants to be on with his friends and wants to see his teacher. And he just seems like a confident little guy, and his grades have reflected that quite well. Actually, he's doing really well. And in the beginning his reading wasn't really where it should have been, but with lots of nurturing and practice, and I think building his confidence as well, his reading has just taken off, and he's doing really, really well in that aspect. I think we absolutely love that it has the small class sizes. Without a doubt, that's great. We can see that, he's getting the attention that he needs. He's willing to participate. He's not intimidated by like huge numbers, what have you. I think just for us, the only thing would be, it would be great if the enrollment grew a little bit more and there'd be more buddies, girls, boys, what have you, just a little bit more social time. But that's not a big deal. Like I think over time the enrollment is going to grow, but we really don't have any negatives about the school. Oh yeah, for sure. I think one thing I really noticed was how the older kids would mentor the little kids. So for instance, right away when you drop off in the morning, the little kids and the big kids would all like gravitate towards each other, obviously pre-pandemic, but also, at a social distance. And it didn't matter their age. Like they weren't like, that's a little kid, I'm not going to talk to them. No, no, no. They had a really nice bond. And a way to sort of mentor, we noticed that the older kids would do reading buddies with the littler kids, and just things like that. And then one really nice thing they did pre-COVID, there's a school kitchen, and James loves to cook and loves to sort of experiment in the kitchen, and he's a bit of a mad chef. But the kids would the whole school would design the menu. Like say, for instance, Thanksgiving, they would design the menu, and then they'd break it all down. And one group would go off to the little supermarket with the wagon and get the ingredients for the mashed potatoes, and one group would get the ingredients for the dessert, and one group would get the ingredients for a salad or what have you. And then they'd all come together and they'd all cook this big meal together, and then they'd all sit down together and eat it. And I thought that is so nice. Like it's so nurturing and warm and very sort of family oriented. So, and he loved it, loved it. Um, so that really stood out to me, that, all the kids could sort of work together on this. It didn't matter if somebody was 12 or 6, they all worked together really nicely. Yeah, definitely. There's a real sort of sense of um, belonging and sort of family, and it's very warm and friendly, and all the teachers take a really good effort despite pandemics to get to know the kids and know all of their names. And we felt that, well, we still feel, if we have a question or whatever, we're welcome to come on in and ask our questions. And we always feel very welcome there. And everybody's sort of there to make sure that their kids are getting what they need. And so there's sort of a real sort of compassionate feeling when you're there that everybody's there for a good reason. And, you know, everybody wants to help each other out, which is really nice. And even we've noticed this in our son, like the teacher will comment, somebody lost something. And James was right in there saying, can I help you find it? Where is your shoe? Sort of this kind of thing. Um, so yeah, it's just a really nice environment where everybody's there to help each other out. And we've noticed that in our son being more helpful as well. I think the common family is very, they've explored different options for their children or child with regards to schooling and academics. And, some people and us as well have landed at GlenOak because we just felt that there weren't any other really great environments that would give them what they need. And they very much tailor the programming and teaching to the style of learning that your child has. So everybody's sort of there for that reason. And as a result, there's a real understanding that we all want to help the kids out, and you see that with extracurricular as well and different things they do. They do a fall fair, and they do lots of different fundraisers, and they have a parent council. And one thing they did at Christmas time was they had a little fundraiser, and all the kids participated in making something for this fundraiser because everybody was enthusiastic and wanted to help out and raise money together for the school. And some kids were making cards that they sold, or little bags, and I think there were bath bombs and a couple of different things. So I think everybody's there from a very sort of nurturing angle. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but we just felt that everybody was there because they wanted their children to thrive, and they want their children to feel comfortable and confident, to do well as they age and get older in the big world. Oh my gosh, the teachers and admin, they've all been amazing. So Susan Good is the principal, and she's very, very warm and inviting, and always, there if you need to, have a chat about something or have a question about something. And the teachers have been amazing, and we love that. You know, right from the beginning, they sort of understand with experience where your child's at, and if they're not comfortable in something, there's always open communication between the parents and the teachers as well. So if I'm working on something with him and I've noticed something, I might contact the teacher and say, have you noticed this, or is there something else that we can be working on at home, or any concerns or anything else. And they just really get to know your child, so they know when they're working on a project or what have you, that how to bring out their strengths, whether it's a math worksheet or a little research project. They just, and again, I think it's also because of the smaller class sizes, they really get to know your child and help them learn and sort of understand a concept versus just, oh well, turn the page, we'll learn something else instead. No, they'll work on it and make sure the child is understanding. And even if I've had a question like, oh, I'm not really sure he's understanding this concept, is there any way you can address it later today? And absolutely, they have their little one-on-one sessions in the afternoon right now online. And his teacher, Miss O'Gorman, is more than happy to, okay, let's just go over this concept one more time or whatever it is. And yeah, and he just feels comfortable with them. All of them, actually. He's done really well. Yeah. Well, definitely number one would be the smaller class sizes, because I think, just talking to different parents at different schools and based on our experience, for James and his style of learning, he has a tendency to not focus as maybe he should be or concentrate. So for him, it's been amazing because the smaller class sizes have allowed the teachers to really get to know him and to know his style and to tailor his learning around him, working with the Ontario curriculum as well. So that's definitely number one, would be the smaller class sizes. And number two would be some kids are really active. And so for our child, he needs to have outdoor time. So he's getting his outdoor time throughout the day. He's getting gym or phys ed at least once a day. And that's amazing for him because he needs to move. And, even when he's in the middle of a learning cycle, we've noticed he might be like fidgeting and moving around, but he's actually listening and he's just needs to fidget and move sometimes. So, and they understand that. So he's not being told to like stop moving or sit where you are, that kind of thing. So, definitely that. And then the third thing would probably be um, the extra add-ons. And again, with the pandemic, it's a little tricky, but the environmental learning that they get to do, so they get to walk around the neighborhood, and instead of learning a shape of a triangle, what have you, they might be on a nature path and look for shapes in the environment that are a triangle, or build a triangle out of pine cones. Or like I said, with the cooking, the kids all cooking together, it's a real learning experience too, because when they're designing a menu and then they're going to the supermarket, they have a budget and they have to buy the ingredients for a specific dish they're working on. Then they come back and they have to work together on a little timeline to figure out who's going to use the kitchen when. And then they all cook it together, and then they all sit down together. So yeah, just that extra sort of hands-on learning, I think, has been really, really great for him too, because he definitely learns when he's doing things and touching things and feeling things. Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. I would definitely, going way back in time, I would say, I should have recognized earlier on that his style, and it's hard, it's tricky, but it's hard to know that his style just wasn't matching the school that he was in, that was more sort of academic driven and um, more sort of in the books, whereas he's more of a energetic, hands-on, down and dirty, get down in the dirt and learn. Very smart child, but just a different style of learning. And didn't really know that sort of was an option when he was like 3. So I think my advice would be, if you notice, something's not gelling, and it's hard to know when they're in kindergarten or what have you, I would say start doing your research sooner than later, so they're not getting to grade 5, 6, 7, and then realizing, oh no, this child maybe should have been in a different environment when they were younger. And again, that's tricky to do, but I think I don't know, for him and us, we're so glad that we found Susan Good and GlenOak. We didn't even know this kind of school existed. Um, but just seeing his confidence, his emotional confidence and his academic confidence really being boosted, versus, if we'd kept him where he was, would he be just a very frustrated child right now that, isn't getting the best grades? Whereas now he's getting the attention he needs and his grades have been fantastic. So I think it's really important to, I guess, pay attention to what's going on with the school, and talking to the teachers, even, when they're little, do you see any, focusing issues or anything that we need to be aware of? And we were able to do that really early at his other school, which was a really good thing. Um, and that's kind of how we ended up with GlenOak, really.
For more information about this school, you can visit their profile at ourkids.net.